Okay, so I'm going to demonstrate how I cut up the apples. Take a regular peeler like this, and then I just peel around. Try and make it a challenge to see if I can get it all in one piece, and obviously not working. So I have cut up all of my other apples. It would be a very long video if I were to try and cut up the rest, but I will show you what to do. Okay, so you just want to get most of it off, and then if you have a peeler like this, you can, here, let me make this brighter. There we go. Okay, so if you have a peeler like this, with a little sharp end, you can just stick it in and turn it around, and the ends will come out. Okay, and then take your knife, just shove those off, cut it in half, then quarter it, and be really careful of your fingers, and you just cut the core out like that. That's the way I do it so that I don't have to cut the knife towards my fingers or whatever. However you want to core the apple is fine. You just want to make sure that you get the apple core out. Okay, so there is this. Then I turn it over and I just chop it really thin slices. This will help it cook better and faster. You have big chunks of apples take a while to cook. So we're just gonna go like this for the rest of the 3 quarters of an apple. There we go. Now we just have half of an apple to chop up, and hang on. Okay, so let's finish this up, and then I will show you how to make the filling. The filling is the fun part. There we go. That is how I chop up my apples for apple pie. Okay, now that I have everything chopped, I'm going to show you, and this, I'll have this in the recipe for you when I send it to you. But this is the startings of the pie filling, okay? So I'll tell you what I did. Now I kept an apple out specifically so that I could show you. What you do is, like I said, apple pie takes so long to make, but it is so worth it in the end. Anyway, you want to put into this mixture all your apples, 3 tablespoons of white sugar, 1 tablespoon of brown sugar, and then I put a teaspoon of cinnamon in here. And then I mixed it up, and these apples right here have been sitting here for a little while. Like, they've been sitting here for at least an hour. So I'm just going to mix these ones in, and then we're ready to actually start the pie filling. Okay, now look at what happens. Within an hour, you're going to get quite a bit of juice down at the bottom, and you want to strain that out because you're going to use it in your pie filling. But you need to strain it out so that you can. I'll show you why. So let's go ahead and strain out the juice. What it does, like the sugar, what it does is it starts to break down the apple, and it will pull the apple juice out of these pieces of apple. And if I left it to sit a little bit longer, I would get more juice. But you just need to let it sit for an hour, and you can let it sit out on the counter Okay, you don't have to refrigerate it or anything. But yeah, so let me rinse off my hands. We will drain off this cinnamon sugar apple juice just into another little container. I'll just put it right here in this little bowl. And to make it easier on myself so I don't spill all the apples, I'm just going to grab a little plate so that it holds the apples in, okay? So here we go. None of the apples are going to come out, just the apple juice. Look at all that juice that was pulled out of these apples from the sugar. Whoops, that's okay. I'll just reach in and pull them out and put them back in the bowl. All right, I'm going to pause to set up the camera over by my stove, because that's where we're going to be doing the rest of this. Okay, I have my pan. What I'm going to do is I'm going to turn my stove on, and you're going to need, for this filling, you're going to need a half a cup of butter, so 1 stick of butter, okay? You can use salted or non-salted or unsalted. I don't ever have unsalted butter in my house, so I always use salted. So you just want to put it in there, and it's going to melt, and you want it to, okay? That's good. So while this is melting here in the pan, I need to grab 3 tablespoons of sugar. So let me get that really quick, and then I'll be back. All right, so it's still melting. That's a good thing. Means my stove is working. All right, 3 tablespoons of flour. This is the butter and the flour is going to create what's called a roux. And this is what's going to make the filling thicker, okay? Let me get my whisk. So we're almost done with melting the butter. And as soon as we're done melting the butter, I'm going to add in the flour, and we're going to just start whisking it until it's a lightish brown. And you'll see, I mean, the sides are, okay, we're almost ready. All right, see the butter is starting to bubble a little bit. It has reached the temperature I need it to, and I just dump the flour in and start to stir. It's gonna sizzle, and it's gonna create some steam. That's okay. I'm gonna get rid of any little clumps of flour that you may have. And you just keep stirring. You do not want this butter and flour mixture to burn, okay? And you're gonna stir it on a medium heat for about a minute, okay? So see how it's starting to get a little golden brown here? I don't know if you can see it in this light very good. Okay, it has cooked enough. So what cooking it does before adding anything else into it, kind of starts to break down the flour flavor and the flour texture so that it's a smoother texture. So then you're going to take your whatever liquid you get from the apples and you're going to start just slowly pouring it in. And look at how thick that is already. Right, it's already starting to turn into a. Okay, now you want to turn it down all the way. In fact, I'm even going to take this off the heat because I don't want it to burn. I forgot to open up my can of sweetened condensed milk. So here we go. I need to open that up really quick, and so I do not want this mixture to burn while I am doing that. So take it from me, you want to open up the can before you start this process. Okay, the can is open. Before you add your sweetened condensed milk though, I'm going to put it back on. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add in more sugar. This recipe calls for so much sugar, it's not even crazy, but it's the sugar that makes it delicious. Okay, so you're going to take 1/3 of a cup of brown sugar. You can either use light brown sugar or dark brown sugar. Either one is fine. You're going to take 1/3 of a cup of regular sugar. And another teaspoon of cinnamon. I love cinnamon flavor. So if you don't love the cinnamon flavor, you can just leave out this teaspoon of cinnamon. And then you're going to stir it again. Stir it really well. So it's pretty smooth. This is probably as smooth as it's going to get. Okay. And then you're going to add in the sweetened condensed milk. And you're just going to add in the whole can. Okay. You can use a spatula or a spoon to get it all out. And then just put that aside. Stir this in. This looks so tasty and it smells even better. So once you have stirred in all of the fat, so this runny stuff right here, it's actually fat from the butter. So as soon as you've mixed it all together, you're going to want to turn the heat back up to about a medium low. So if you have numbers on your stove, anywhere between like a 3 and a 5. Okay, this does stick to the bottom of the pan really easy, so you do want to keep stirring it. Now, I'm going to taste this mixture before I put the apples in, just to make sure that it's the right. This is going to be very, very hot, so if you decide to taste it as well, just make sure you blow it off really good. Otherwise, you're going to burn your tongue. So good. So, so good. All right. Now, you're just going to pour the apples in. Okay? Make sure to get all the apples out of the bowl. And we're just going to start stirring these apples together with the mixture. And like I said during class, the reason I do this, and then I actually cook this for about 20 minutes. And you don't have to stir it the whole time, but you do need to be by the pan so it doesn't burn, okay? And again, the reason I do this, like I said in class, I want to pre-cook or partially pre-cook the apples so that when I cook the pie itself, the crust doesn't burn, right? All right, that is how you make the apple pie filling. I hope this is helpful. I will, like I said, I'm going to send the recording and the recipe over to you, like with the classes recording from today. Okay. All right. Well, have fun making your apple pie, and remember to take a picture of it. I am excited to see it.